Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith Atibi. It's time for News Central now, and here are the top stories at this hour. Labour Party faction led by Julius Abure tells Peter Obi to resign from the party in 48 hours for joining ADC coalition. Suspected bandits reportedly kill 15 in attack on Tangaza village in Sokoto. And off to Guinea as the country seeks to extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years with a 2-term limit. Details shortly. And we begin with security matters. At least 15 people have been reportedly killed by suspected bandits in Kwallajiya village, Tangaza Local Government Area of Sokoto State. According to a local source, the attack occurred on Wednesday afternoon when armed men believed to be members from the Lukarawa group stormed the village and opened fire. The source, who spoke on condition of anonymity, expressed deep concern over the rising wave of violence across Sokoto communities, blaming local informants for aiding the bandits. He urged residents to work closely with security forces to curb the attacks and restore peace in the region. The Lagos State Police Command has assured the residents of improved safety as it outlined recent successes in crime-fighting efforts. Speaking at a media briefing, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Oludare Jimo, said the police recovered 37 stolen vehicles from traced beyond Lagos, while also assuring of the fight against cultism by establishing anti-cultism squads in all 14 area commands.
This is on the recovery of stolen vehicles from Ware Park in Lagos, and those vehicles that were stolen or snatched from other states of the Federation. Some of these vehicles that are recovered today are in the process of being taken outside this country through the borders in Lagos State. Quite a number of assorted firearms and ammunition were equally recovered from the cultists and other men of the underworlds in Lagos State. Some of these cultists are currently in police custody, and they are going to be prosecuted on completion of various investigations into their cases. These vehicles that we are seeing here today are 36 in number. They are exotic vehicles. Some of them are into several millions, hundreds of millions of nairas. They were recovered from fraudulent transaction and advance fee frauds. So I want to assure you all that Lagos State Police Command is not leaving any stone unturned to ensure that those crimes that cannot be prevented are promptly detected.
Away from that, and now to politics, as the Labour Party has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to its former presidential candidate Peter Obi to officially resign his membership following his open alignment with a new political coalition. In a strongly worded statement, the party distanced itself from the coalition, describing its members as power-hungry politicians with selfish motives. National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo said the dream of a new Nigeria is a deceptive slogan, adding that the coalition is made up of recycled and desperate figures who contributed to Nigeria's decline. According to the Labour Party, quote, desperate politicians cannot deliver the new Nigeria Nigerians deserve, end quote. The party reiterated its non-involvement in the coalition and warned that any member participating must step down immediately. Meanwhile, the former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has reaffirmed his support for the adoption of the African Democratic Congress as the coalition platform for the 2027 general elections. In a post on his X handle, Obi said the decision was made after deep reflection on Nigeria's challenges, emphasizing the urgent need for a new leadership direction. He stressed that the coalition remains committed to delivering competent and compassionate leadership that puts Nigerians first. The new leadership of the African Democratic Congress comprises of former Senate President David Mark as national chairman, Rauf Aregbesola as secretary, was announced after an event in Abuja on Wednesday. Still on politics, we continue with still on the 2027 elections as Atiku Obi and David Mark coalition adopts ADC to challenge Tinubu. Now, after prolonged political maneuverings during the unveiling ceremony on Wednesday, David Mark, who is the national chairman, was announced as the interim national chairman of the ADC, while ex-Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola emerged the interim secretary of the party. Meanwhile, ADC's 2023 presidential candidate Dubemi Akachikwa and other members of the party's old bloc criticized Atiku, Obi and others, accusing them of hijacking the party and claiming they lacked the capacity to lead. Still on politics, experts are raising the alarm over the rising cost of political participation in Nigeria, warning that the country's democracy is drifting further away from inclusivity. This comes as the Westminster Foundation for Democracy launched a new report on the growing financial barriers to contesting and winning elections in the country. News Central's Joshua Marai has the details.
Over the years, the cost of politicking in Nigeria has soared, and with each election cycle, the stakes get even higher. Experts say the growing financial demands and exclusivity in Nigeria's political space have led to the continued marginalization of key demographics, including women, youth, and persons with disabilities.
And if you agree with me that the health of democracy is majorly indicated by the percentage of people participating in the process, then we have a reason to be concerned. Specifically, if you look at the nosediving representation of women in political institutions, particularly the Assembly, National Assembly, State Assembly, it is a major concern.
A recent study by the Westminster Foundation for Democracy on the cost of politics in Nigeria emphasizes the urgent need for government and political parties to adopt innovative strategies to dismantle these financial hurdles.
That's why we are asking that even in the Electoral Act, even in the party's constitution, we have the 35%, but when you talk of the gender bill, it's not being passed. And so it's neutral, because they're not telling us specifically this is what we are giving to the women. So that's why we are saying, as we have these conversations, as we go around amending the constitution, the party's constitution, we want to even start from the parties.
Some politicians, however, argue that political parties are also victims of a flawed system and are often forced to seek unconventional and sometimes questionable means of sustaining their operations.
The political parties themselves are victims of the problems we have. There is no equity in the system. So because constitutionally parties are not the funds or subvention for political parties have been withdrawn. So somehow you have to fight to survive, for your parties to move on, to be part of the system.
Let us jettison the issue of monetization of nomination forms. To do that successfully, because most political parties use that to generate revenue to run the party. And so if we must do that, there must be an alternative means of generating revenue to run the party. If you don't have money, you cannot run a political party anywhere.
As Nigeria approaches future elections, the big question remains, can reforms lower the cost of participation and open the space for broader, more genuine representation? Only time and bold policy decisions will tell. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
Joining us now for more on this is Hyatt King. He's a lawyer and political commentator from Port Harcourt. Mr. King, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for coming on. Now, there's already a whole lot going on about alliances, coalitions, and the plans for the 2027 elections. So let's start with the adoption of the ADC as the coalition's party of choice. Is this a viable option?
I can hear you now. It's better now. But I can hear you now.
All right. I was asking about the adoption of the ADC for the coalition's party of choice, and by the coalition I mean the former Senate President David Mark to Rauf Aregbesola and the Labour Party presidential candidate for 2023, as well as Atiku Abubakar. Is the ADC the right choice to make going into 2027? Is it a viable option?
Well, I think the politicians, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi and Mechi will answer that question, whether it's a viable option for them. But for me, I am a little bit worried because are you removing Tinubu because Tinubu is not performing? Are you removing Tinubu because Tinubu is from a particular place, from the south? Are you removing Tinubu because you are not in power, you want to be in power? Are you removing Tinubu because you want to bring something new? But if you are removing Tinubu for all of these obvious reasons, because he's not performing, particularly because he's not performing, then it's good. But if you are removing Tinubu, if you are fighting to remove Tinubu simply because Tinubu is from a particular ethnic group, or Tinubu is not your friend anymore, or just because you particular ethnic group, you are not there, and if you are not there, Nigeria cannot move forward, then I will not support you. But if you are removing Tinubu, and if you are removing Tinubu, which option are you bringing? Who are you bringing? Because if you look at all the people that I have just seen, these are people that have been spent. These are people we know their antecedents. These are people we know what they have done in the past. These are people who have helped to plunge Nigeria into what it is today. Some of them are people who have started holding leadership positions in their 30s, in their 20s, in their 40s. And they are still there. They are 70-something, 80-something, and they are still coming around. When will the youth have opportunity? You are always said that, oh, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. When are the youth going to lead? When are they going to take the position? Are you removing Tinubu? Because you want to remove Tinubu because we are not part of this government. The likes of El-Rufai, Bonaventure, former Senate president, talking about the interim national president, national chairman of the coalition, and all of them. Why are you removing Tinubu? Who are you giving? What are you bringing? Remember, this is the same thing they told us in 2014. Oh, we are removing Jonathan. Oh, Jonathan is not performing. Oh, Jonathan is this, Jonathan is that. And you successfully removed Jonathan. And when you removed Jonathan, you did not bring a very good option. You did not bring a viable option. Nothing changed. Nigeria went down and down and down and down. The same thing happened. Immediately, Tinubu took over on May 29, 2023. Nigeria went down and down and down. So who are you bringing? That's my question. I'm not, opposition should be there. I support opposition. I support coalition. Because what we are seeing happening presently, we are going towards one party. That is not good for our democracy. That is not good at all for our democracy. But are you removing Tinubu to bring something better?
Mr. King.
To bring something better, good. But if you are removing him because you hate him,
Mr. King.
He's from Yoruba, because he's from South,
Mr. King.
because we are not there, then I will not support you.
Right, Mr. King, I think that as you were reeling out our reasons, one has to be, just to be clear, what the coalition is for. Now, they may not have said, those reasons why they want to remove Tinubu, but one thing is certain, that democracy means that there have to be oppositions and coalitions and, parties who will go against the power. And one of the individuals who have been very vocal when it comes to dissent and, speaking truth to power has been himself, Peter Obi. He's talked about, very recently, it was a visit of the president to St. Lucia, saying that that was not the perfect time for him to go on travel, and that Nigeria was bleeding at its seams, and more than ever, they need a compassionate leader who needs to be in front to lead. So do you think that this is a tribalism thing, or a thing of zoning, or rather for the sake of Nigerians who deserve a better Nigeria and compassionate leaders?
I think it's all of the above. It's tribalistic, it's because they are not in government, it is gang up. That is my take, because they have made these promises in the past. PDP made that promise from 2007, from 2003, 2007, 2011, and they never lived up to those promises. I will do this, I will do that. Then above all, APC came in 2014 and told us, oh, if we don't do this, chase us out. If we don't have power, chase us out. The APC has been in power now for 10 years. 2014, 2024, 12 years now. What has changed? What have they done? What have they done differently from PDP? Nothing. So I don't trust the coalition. I don't trust them. I don't trust any one of them. We are all part of it. Look at that list. You see that most of them is either PDP or APC. That's who they are. So they just want to be in power, not because they have something they want to come and give to Nigeria. For me, let them go for free and fair elections. Let Tinubu allow for free and fair elections. Let Nigeria choose on their own. Let Nigeria make that decision, not individuals making decisions. Individuals have been making decisions for Nigerians for the past 25 years. From 1999, May 29, up to today, they are still making decisions for us, bringing people that are not prepared, people that cannot do anything based on ethnicity, based on zoning. I don't like zoning.
Mr. King, I wish
the best candidate should be there. Even if the best candidate is there for the next 50 years, I don't give a damn. But because of what
Mr. King, we have to be mindful. Just Mr. King, if you can just hear me, we just have to be mindful of what we're doing here. Remember that this is daytime television. I wish that there was enough time if you had let me cut in, because I was going to ask you about, the presidential ticket for the coalition. You're saying that all these people are recycled and political jobbers at best, and you don't think there's anyone who is viable to take the presidential candidate. I wish there's enough time for us to ask then, who will ADC pick with all the juggernaut that we see in the party as a presidential ticket heading forward? But that's all the time we can take. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on. Appreciate you for doing this. Harry King, he is a lawyer and a political commentator who joined us live from Port Harcourt. Let's go on a short break. When we return, several hospitalized as three-story building collapses in Lagos. We have the details after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, is defending the 39 billion naira renovation and renaming, of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja. Wike says the revamped facility has already generated 650 million naira in just 3 weeks, a massive leap from its previous annual earnings of 50 million naira. The minister also rejected claims that he allocated 41 plots of land to his sons, describing the accusation as false and politically motivated. He attributed it to a failed politician from Adamawa State. Speaking on the political situation in his home state, Wike declared that peace has returned to Rivers after months of turmoil. He maintained that he owes no one an explanation on the terms of the truce.
It was paid to the FCT every year 50 million naira. As I speak to you, that gave a commission in June 10. Do you know the revenue was made? Within 3 weeks, 650 million naira. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. 650 million naira. But this was somebody giving us 50 million naira a year. We have 2,000 hectares of land. Ordinary mathematics just tells you that. And then for the value of $3.something billion, it is about almost 4 or 5 trillion naira. And then you want me to stay to listen to you. These are the kind of things I tell you. There are stories you come and tell me. Okay, he gave his son 4,000 square feet of land. Okay, maybe it's correct. For example, okay, let me listen to it. But all this badabash, rubbish, and I know where it's coming from. There are a few who here were Tangaza wagging. I have never had, I don't owe anybody any explanation. How peace was achieved. What's important is that peace. Yes.
And still in the capital, the Senate on Wednesday passed for third reading a bill seeking to establish the Bitumen Development Commission aimed at regulating, and promoting investment in the exploration, development and exploitation of the bitumen in Nigeria. The Senate also threw its weight behind a motion calling for greater engagement of local contractors in the execution of small-scale federal government projects. News Central's correspondent Segir Ibrahim brings the details.
Wednesday's plenary saw the presentation and adoption of the report of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals Development on the bill seeking to establish a Bitumen Development Commission aimed at regulating and promoting investment in exploration, development and exportation of bitumen by Nigeria.
The committee also noticed that despite the availability of this natural gift in the country, there is no robust and cogent legal legislative frame in place to fully regulate bitumen development, exploration, exploitation for the benefit of our country.
What this bill seeks to do
is to diversify the economy away from oil with a view to exploiting the vast mineral resources that we have in the country.
I believe this will create jobs. This will also help us to coordinate and utilize our locally sourced bitumen.
Having scaled third reading, the bill now goes to the Green Chamber for concurrence. The Senate also threw its weight behind a motion urging the federal government to prioritize engaging local indigenous contractors in the execution of small-scale federal government contracts.
Engaging local contractors for such contracts will significantly enhance community participation, job creation, increase productivity.
The lawmakers all agree that this has cut job opportunities for domestic contractors, thereby limiting local economy growth.
Because of the high requirements actually extended by BPE, it becomes very problematic. Even as simple as small contract of doing a rural road curtail some of our people in the possibility of not undertaking. There is no way we can grow as a nation if we allow, after independence, post-colonization of our economy and praxis. It's unacceptable. The Nigerian contractors have to invest in equipment. They have to invest in training and retraining of Nigerian workers.
We should just amend the act and look at it so that we can encourage local contractors. Because what we are doing now is that none of us can go to Germany and win a job.
The Senate concluded by backing amendments to the Public Procurement and Local Content Act to prioritize indigenous businesses. It then adjourned to the next legislative week to allow lawmakers participate in the zonal public hearing on the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
And off to South-South, where in a continued effort to invest in the potential of young people, the Edo State government has wrapped up the Edo Youth Impact Forum 2025, an initiative aimed at nurturing entrepreneurship and innovation among the youth. The event brought together young entrepreneurs, mentors, and government officials, creating a platform for skills development, networking, and empowerment. Some of the most promising participants walked away with cash prizes to support their business ventures. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede reports from Benin City.
Since taking office, Governor Monday Okpebholo has made youth empowerment a cornerstone of his administration, steering young people away from social vices and towards productivity and purpose. The latest step in that vision is the Edo Youth Impact Forum 2025, which brought together hundreds of youths from across the state. The event featured mentoring sessions by accomplished entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, and young political leaders in Edo State.
Like the one I attended, the business class, it was really a lot. I learned a lot. I learned how to manage a business as an entrepreneur, down to the other classes as well. It was really, really inspiring.
My expectation is actually to see us create in Nigeria, the state rather, where the potential of young people will be seen.
My advice for the youth is that they should stand up, take up the mantle. The table is there for the taking. There are available slots. Just show your interest, show your skills of leadership, and access will be given to you.
Representing the governor, the secretary to the state government praised the determination of the youths and reiterated the administration's commitment to creating more opportunities for growth and self-reliance.
We want to see that as a government, we have very strong inclination towards empowering our youth and ensuring that we give them the necessary tools and create the enabling environment for them to thrive.
The youth were also urged to steer clear of drug abuse and other vices that could derail their future.
We have so many people who were hooked on drugs, but today, after undergoing rehabilitation services with the NDMA, they are clean. And the June 26 program, we had a young man who testified that he's 3 years clean. So it is possible. Treatment is good and prevention is the best way to grow.
One of the highlights of the forum was a business pitch competition where young entrepreneurs showcased their innovative ideas and business models. 10 outstanding participants were awarded cash prizes to either kickstart or scale their ventures.
What we do in our farm, we connect landowners or ideal plot of land to farmers who don't have access to this land. So we're not just providing the land, we are also providing support in terms of tools, in terms of training, and in terms of also getting them access to the market by the time they are done with the harvesting. So we are focusing on clusters of lands that are actually abandoned. So the farmer is earning, the landowner is also gets a top of income.
Doctor.com is a platform simply to link up patients and qualified doctors that we verify. And so we provide fast, reliable, and affordable medical consultations, both online and offline, people in remote areas that don't have access to the internet, in multiple languages, and for people that we cannot handle on the app, we refer to health centers, private or public, in the vicinity of the community.
The government says this is just the beginning, with more empowerment programs in the pipeline, all aimed at building one of the most enterprising youth population in the country. In Edo State for News Central, Bernard Akede.
The push for inclusive quality education in Nigeria took center stage at a one-day dissemination session in Abuja as federal and state educators revealed findings on the state of girls' education in the country. The session featured the release of new reports on education financing and performance across 10 states with emphasis on gender equity. News Central's correspondent Sumaya Abubakar has more.
The session, organized to unveil performance assessment and financing reports on girls' education, brought together top education officials from across the country. With the theme, Strengthening Girls' Education in Nigeria, the event focused on the intersection of gender, financing, and policy implementation at the state level.
Our motto is to ensure that we have the appropriate data so that we can make realistic decisions, so that we can make impactful policies, so that we can push for effective implementation. This will give us that tool. This will assist us in ensuring that really no girl is left behind.
Organizers highlighted key challenges including poverty, unsafe learning environments, and cultural resistance that continue to force many girls out of school. Civil society organizations equally echoed the call for reform, urging deeper collaboration between government and communities.
This state-specific data here is to help the governors to think, help the governors to plan, and help the governors to budget and implement girls' education key performance indicators that will accelerate the implementation of what is in the Pillar 3 of the New York agenda for Mr. President.
When I come in, I actually give my story and also encourage parents and other advocacy that the more we go out, the more we are. There are so many girls out there that are actually in school but are not having quality education.
The session also featured a robust panel discussions on financing, monitoring, and the importance of female leadership in education systems. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Let's go on a short break. There's plenty more after that break. Stay with us. And welcome back. And as off to Lagos State, where several people have been hospitalized following the overnight collapse of a building along Adeniji-Adele Road on the Isaleko area of Lagos Island. The incident occurred in the early hours of Thursday, drawing a swift response from the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, the Nigerian Police, and other emergency agencies. Now, according to Lagos State Traffic Management Agency, trapped victims were rescued from the rubble and rushed to nearby hospitals. A civic uprising is gaining momentum as Nigerian youths under the Forum of Youth Development have launched a 12-day protest in Abuja. They are demanding the removal of NNPCL Group CEO Bayo Ojulari for allegedly shielding the oil company from scrutiny and refusing to defend its finances. The group insists Ojulari is complicit in what they describe as continued concealment and institutional silence over the alleged mismanagement of 210 trillion naira, an issue dating back to former GCEO Mele Kyari's tenure.
Our demonstration is going on for 12 days until President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sack the current GCEO of NNPC, that is Mr. Bayo. Because the National Assembly had just called last week, they called the attention of the NNPC management for them to be accountable on whatsoever that will be going on at the NNPC. We as the youth body also write to the management of NNPC for them to also do the same thing. But very unfortunate, nothing has happened over that.
It is still his responsibility to make clear and make bare everything that happened in the previous leadership. And even as he has started, just in a few months, he's even doing almost more than what the previous one has done. So that I can tell you categorically that they are birds of the same feather, or possibly even worse, a worse bird.
And off to Guinea, where the ruling junta wants to extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years with a 2-term limit, according to a draft constitution due to be put to a referendum in September. Now, the draft was presented last Thursday to General Mamadi Doumbouya, head of the junta, to ousted President Alpha Condé in 2021, one in a series of military coups in West Africa. Now, it did not specify whether Doumbouya would be able to run for president when the country returns to democratic elections. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made history as the first Indian leader to visit Ghana in over 3 decades. Now, during his visit, he and President John Mahama signed key agreements aimed at strengthening security and boosting economic cooperation, part of India's wider push for influence on the African continent. News Central's Bugani Ziziba reports.
Touchdown in Ghana, and a warm welcome for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whose visit marks a major step forward in India-Ghanaian relations. A historic moment symbolizing renewed commitment to diplomatic and economic partnership. Modi was honored with Ghana's highest national award, the Officers of the Order of the Star, making him the first Indian Prime Minister to receive a prestigious decoration in 30 years, and the enduring friendship between the two nations.
This visit is a testament to the deep-rooted historical ties between Ghana and India, founded on the visionary leadership of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and India's Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, as well as the ever-growing strong bonds of friendship and cooperation which exist between our two sisterly countries for the mutual benefit of our people.
During high-level discussions, the two leaders signed memorandum of understanding focused on trade, technology, security, mining, and development. Modi also interacted with members of the Indian community in Ghana. He commended Ghana's leadership role within regional blocs, including the African Union and ECOWAS.
When we look at Ghana, we see a nation that shines with courage, that rises above history, that meets every challenge with dignity and grace.
Modi's diplomatic tours continues. Next stop, Brazil for BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. He is expected to make a brief stop in Namibia before heading back to India, reinforcing his country's commitment to building a strong and lasting partnership across continents. For News Central, Wongane Siziba.
Welcome back. Thailand has unveiled a new cabinet following a major reshuffle approved by the King Maha Vajiralongkorn, who is marking the appointment of the country's third prime minister in just 1 week. The rapid turnover at the top underscores deepening political turmoil and growing rifts within the ruling coalition. The newly appointed Prime Minister faces a daunting task, taking charge amid public discontent and internal party squabbles that have weakened the government's autonomy. Republican leaders in the U.S. Congress delayed a key vote for hours on Donald Trump's signature tax and spending bill Wednesday as they scrabbled to win over a group of rebels threatening to torpedo the centerpiece of the president's domestic agenda. Trump is seeking final approval in the House of Representatives for his Senate-passed One Big Beautiful bill, but faces opposition on all sides of his fractious party over provisions set to balloon the national debt while launching a historic assault on the social safety net. House Speaker Mike Johnson told lawmakers to return to their offices, holding open a series of afternoon procedural votes required before final approval for more than 3 hours after it was first called, with no sign of the stalemate breaking. Now, for more on this, I'm joined by international correspondent Afia Hagen. Afia, tell us what's in this bill and why is it so controversial?
Well, Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, as he likes to call it, has many elements in it, and some of them are causing consternation amongst Americans. So first, he's going to have increased spending for border security to help him achieve his ambitious deportation targets. He's going to increase spending for the U.S. military and energy production. He's also going to extend the pretty large tax cuts that he had in place during his first presidential term. But to pay for all that, he's going to have to cut healthcare, particularly from low-income and disabled people, and slash food assistance from low-income groups. So these proposed cuts could see as many as 12 million Americans stripped of their health insurance coverage. That's according to the Congressional Budget Office, which is a non-partisan federal agency. It's also thought that this bill is going to add $3.3 trillion to the U.S. national debt.
And what have lawmakers on both sides of the House said about the bill?
Well, let's start with the Republicans. Now, the majority of Republicans have openly supported the bill, but there have been some who have been holding out, especially this week when it came to that vote where the deadlock was broken by J.D. Vance. 3 Republican rebel senators, Maine's Susan Collins, North Carolina's Tom Tillis, and Kentucky's Rand Paul joined with the Democrats in voting against the bill. Now, Tillis has said that they will not be running for re-election after criticizing the legislation, particularly the legislation that will see Medicare taken away from a lot of his residents in North Carolina. He said that it will be devastating. And then another senator as well in Alaska, Senator Lisa Karwoski, also expressed her concerns about the changes to Medicaid and said that she struggled mightily with its passage. Now, when it comes to the Democrats, all the Democrats are opposed to the bill. At the moment, you've got the Democratic minority leader of the House, that's Hakeem Jeffries. He is speaking on the House floor. He's been speaking for more than 5 hours, and he is basically laying out the Democratic case on why this big, beautiful bill, as Trump calls it, he's calling it the really big, ugly betrayal, and the American people know it. He's laying out in the strongest terms possible for the longest time he can manage on why this bill is terrible and basically delaying that vote. He's been talking for 5 hours. He said in quotes that he plans to take his sweet time, and it's only after he's finished speaking that a vote on the bill can take place.
And what are we likely to know? When are we likely to know the result of the vote on it?
Well, that's the $3.3 trillion question. And the fact is, we just don't know, because Minority House Leader Hakeem Jeffries is speaking. He's doing that mega speaking session. He's been talking for more than 5 hours. It's not until he finishes talking that the bill can be voted on finally. Like I said he plans to take his sweet time. So it's a wait and see how long he can keep filibustering and talking about how this bill is not going to work. And only after he finishes can the vote on the bill take place.
Well, only time will tell. We'll wait until that speech is over. Afia, many thanks. We appreciate you for coming on. Afia Hagen, our international correspondent, giving us more insight following votes for the big, beautiful bill by President Donald Trump. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, there's plenty more. Stay with us. The Naira remains stable against the British pound in the parallel market at 2,200 Naira to a pound, despite the pound's global weakening due to UK economic anxieties. Now, this stability coincides with the UK's new developing countries trading scheme, DCTS, allowing 99% of Nigerian exports duty-free access, aiming to boost the £7.2 billion UK-Nigeria trade. Now, UK High Commissioner Dr. Montgomery praised Nigeria's economic reforms and the Naira stabilization, noting increased foreign exchange reserves and improved government revenue. Meanwhile, the British pound saw a near 1% fall, following concerns over UK finances, exacerbated by Finance Minister Rachel Reeves' parliamentary appearance and £5 billion, and that's about $6.8 billion, in welfare reform concessions. The dollar fluctuated while the euro held near its September 2021 peak of $1.1806. Now, the dollar index was at 96.7, near 3.5 year lows, as markets await the U.S. employment report. The Athletics Federation of Nigeria, AFN, has pledged full commitment to fighting doping after World Athletics banned 19 athletes, including Nigeria's Imalbong in Sokoto, for violations. Now, the bans, ranging from 15 months to 5 years, also hit athletes from Kenya, India, and France, as well as other countries. Imalbong received a 2-year ban, prompting the AFN to reaffirm its stance on anti-doping enforcement. The federation denied being lax and noted it funded over 60% of drug testing ahead of the Paris Olympics. AFN President Tonobok Okoa urged athletes to criticize or scrutinize their supplements and highlighted ongoing advocacy efforts. Paris 2024 Olympian Esther Kwallajiya will compete at the Spanish Wrestling Grand Prix from July 4th, that's tomorrow, all the way to the 7th of July 2025. Now, before heading to Budapest, Hungary, for the World Wrestling Ranking Series, which is scheduled for July 14th to 19th. Both events are key build-ups to the 2025 World Wrestling Championships in Croatia this September. Kwallajiya, the reigning African champion, will be accompanied by Nigeria's women's national wrestling coach, and that's Aku Purity. The Nigeria Wrestling Federation emphasized the importance of continuous international exposure to improve athlete performance. We wish her the best. Pretty much that's all we can take at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. We told you that Labour Party faction, which is led by Julius Abure, has asked Peter Obi to resign from the party in 48 hours for joining ADC coalition. Suspected bandits have reportedly killed 15 in attack on Tangaza village in Sokoto. And we also told you that Guinea has sought to extend presidential terms from 5 to 7 years without a two-term limit. Now, do remember they can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And to follow us on social media, we're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and also live on YouTube. Hey, thanks for watching. I am Judith for TV. Bye for now.